Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got to look at the new Pyotr Bagration Tier 7 campaign reward ship, Russian cruiser. Kuznetsov, I got EOP on there right now. Still testing out the shells extensively. Been playing a lot of games tonight, just focusing on one shell or the other. This first clip, and keep an eye on that armor scheme. That's going to be important here. But this first clip is a game where we're just shooting HE the entire time. No EOP, so standard penetration on these. Now these are 180 millimeter guns, so we got decent penetration on the HE anyways. I believe it would be, what, 30 millimeters a pen. But if we get that EOP on there, we include another common armor scheme that you're going to see at Tier 7, 32 millimeters, or Tier 7 and Legendary Tier. Get those 32 millimeter plates in there. Even more penetration. You can see here we got, what, just about 80 hits. We got 10 fires, just 54k damage. Now, one game, one little clip isn't enough data, of course, to prove anything, but just testing out these guns, I'm starting to think, okay, maybe EOP, probably the way to go. That's usually I got these Russian cruisers set up anyways, but probably just going to keep it on there. And we'll see at the end of this little sequence here, when the game's looking like it's about to slip away, we're just going to give up on the experiment. But I wanted to show this because we're going to see plenty of HE, again, non-EOP HE. Second game that's coming up, we just got about a 2-minute clip here. Second game, full game, going to be mostly AP focused. We might have one or two HE salvos here and there, but in general, we're going to be focusing on the AP, and that's what you kind of need to do with this Bagration. You got to be actively switching the shells, and we got a 10-second reload on this, so you can get away with it, but favor the AP, and then if that's not working, then go to the HE. And you can see here, as soon as we go broadside, we're getting those guns around here. I think enough's enough. We go ahead and switch over to AP and just check out the difference in the damage. Okay, we got a fire burning on him anyways, that's good. We got the broadside Bismarck and the game slipping away. And no, we did not win this game in case you're wondering. But nevertheless, just wanted to include this clip here so you could see the guns in action, or the HE rather, because we're not really going to be focusing on that. But when this ship was kind of announced, people were kind of thinking, oh, Kutuzov type ship, or Chapayev, just long range bomber. Just focus on the HE, whatever. I'd say, long range bomber is pretty apt. The AP definitely functions pretty well long range. We do have the high velocity guns, the accurate guns, the quick time to target guns, low arcs. These are all important characteristics of these Soviet cruiser shells. But that said, the AP is going to be the favorite shell as opposed to HE. So stick with AP unless it's not working in the particular instance you're in. Anyway, this next game here, we'll do a full breakdown of the game, and we'll do a full breakdown of the ship. Now, if we exclude the Siegfried, we exclude the Azuma, which have high HP pools. Here we got 42,000. That's pretty good. That's above average for the standard kind of cruisers at Tier 7. Do have a torpedo belt, not the case on the other Russian cruisers here. Range, 17.6, looks comparable to the Chapayev Kutuzov. Reload, 10.5. So we got the longest reload out of all the Tier 7 Russian cruisers so far. And pretty good damage, alright. 4914 is the value I got plugged in for my AP damage. If you want to compare that to the Ochakov, for instance, 3564. So on paper, the AP on this one's bigger. Now, I don't know exactly. I think the fuses might be a little bit short on these. Seems like we get a little bit unique characteristics at times. That's why for battleships, I'm kind of trying to shoot up more in the superstructure, upper deck type of a deal. Cruisers, we definitely want to be waterlining. Take a look at the ZF6. Now, this game, we're going to have a pretty good scoring game here. We're going to have about 2,000 XP. We got one destroyer down. The other one's about to go down in about 2 seconds here. So we lose both destroyers right off the bat. You can figure it out. We're not actually going to win this game. But had we gotten the win bonus, this would be about a 3,000 XP game. So pretty solid game overall. But again, this one we're more focused on testing the AP and just kind of continue to learn more about the guns. Early impressions video, if you're new to the channel, I usually play about 10 games in these premiums, get a feel for them, report back to you. And if you're new, consider subscribing. We are chasing 20,000 subscribers, currently getting close. When we get closer, or actually when we achieve it, then we're going to get some prizes to give away for you guys. Should be a good time, so stay tuned for that. Getting back to the big Peter here, though, the Moral of the story is not nearly as sturdy as the Peter we all know and enjoy at tier 4. Okay, that one's not nearly as long as this, but firm in terms of the firmness of that tier 4 Peter, much more rock solid. This one, it bends, it's a little bendable. Not quite flaccid, I wouldn't go that far, but definitely not, doesn't have the durability to stay alive. Any battleship at tier 7 not named Odin can overmatch you basically all over the thing. Okay? And if you don't know what that means, any battleship at tier 7 not named Odin is going to blow you up if they hit you. So you cannot get shot by battleships in this, okay? So this is not a run and gunner. If you want to run Makarov, that's cool. We'll talk about the maneuverability a little bit. You can enhance that, but we're still going to be relying on distance. We're going to be relying on island cover, and we're going to be doing more traditional type of methods to survive in the cruisers in terms of protecting ourselves with the environment as opposed to run and gun, open water dodge. If you want to try that, fine, but as soon as you get any sort of connection with those battleship shells, you're going to accrue damage, and your crew's not going to dig it. They're all going to be dead. So keep that in mind. That makes the Peter relatively difficult to play. So this is no Ochakov where the Citadel is non-existent. We got maneuverability up the wazoo and tight turning circle. No, here we got 140 more meters on the turn circle, 890 compared to 750 on the Ochakov. So that one's just a quick little duck. This one, much more ponderous in terms of the movement. Decent speed, 34.5. You can compare that to 35 on the Ochakov, 33.5 on the Chopev. Last time I wrote that down, but you know, in general, we got to be very careful with the movement. We don't want to be, I'm not prescribing open water tactics on this one. If that's how you want to play it, go ahead. But I think you're going to have a bad time. So protect yourself, rely on the guns, use the AP whenever you can. Those are kind of the keys to this version of the Peter. So anyway, we're getting down here in this game. What do we got? 4 ships. Of course, both destroyers were dead right off the bat. We know that. Going to have to start making some risks. We got this Bismarck in front of us. He's getting low. Trying to move forward, trying to take him on. Do I want to run into a Ritchie? No. Weren't you just paying attention? We don't want to get shot by battleships. This is a dangerous play. If he turns his guns at us, we could get one shot. And by the way, out of the, you know, I'd say we play about 10 games for early impressions videos. This one I've probably played about 15 between the stream earlier today, and then we've been doing a lot of testing on the shells and different aspects. So I got a little bit more experience in this one. Have gotten one shot on this thing, okay? I was about 3-4 minutes into a game on same map, other side of the map. We were in C, saw spawn. I was trying to support that cap, doing decent things, you know, putting up some damage, and then the Leon caught me with a left hook and it was over. Blew me up right out of the water. So this thing is definitely one-shottable. It's probably going to be one of the more fun cruisers to shoot at tier 7. So keep that in mind. You got to just focus on not getting shot, okay? Here we got a Cleveland. Now, he's shooting HE. That's going to cause me to turn here. And then he's actually going to switch to AP and potentially whack us. Doesn't wind up getting us too well. But I wanted to point this clip out here, or this sequence, because we're using the AP here and see how well he can angle. Okay, now we have the advantage in this fight. Cleveland, high, floaty, ponderous shots. Longer. We're sailing away from him, so his shots actually have to go further than where we were, you know, when he fired the trigger. We're actually going to be further away at that point in time by the time the shells get here. So his shots are longer, they're higher, they're slower. Meanwhile, he's moving into us. So our shots actually go shorter distances than they would if he was frozen in place when we pulled the trigger. So we got quite a distance advantage there. Velocity, much better, easier to hit, of course. If we just stick to the HE and protect ourselves, and keep an eye on the firing angles, by the way, that diagram on the bottom. That's a huge key to this ship. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But, oof, right there, he could have whacked us as soon as I saw that shot. I was like, uh-oh, mistakes were made. But, you know, that fight favors us. Okay, the Cleveland, that's not really, you know, again, if you want to play it open water, you're Mr. Open Water, I don't care. But I relish that fight. I'll take the Peter versus the Cleveland open water any day. So now we're going to see some longer range shots. We're going to try and get back on the cap. We need a cap. They got one. C, they've had one for quite a while. You can see a huge, robust lead in terms of score. Look at this. Iowa Rams the Grober. That's a bold move, Cotton. So Eventually here, though, once we get in a position, we're going to start firing some AP at this Iowa, and we'll see the AP performance even at range, okay? And this is basically, you want to stick to the formula. If you got broadside battleships, doesn't matter the range, go ahead and shoot AP. Probably shoot into the superstructure upper hull. Broadside cruisers, you want the AP, doesn't matter the distance, go for those waterline shots, go for the citadels. If you notice what we did to the Suzuya earlier, basically melted them in 2 pulls of the trigger, okay? I didn't point it out. I was blabbering on about some stats or something at the time, but if you missed it, you can go back and check that out. We actually wrecked that Suzuya. Someone else finished them off. And that's what you can do to cruisers. If you can catch them broadside. Now, getting this thing into position, you got to kind of have to get them in flanking positions to get that damage, because if we're not getting the side shots, then we're relying on AP at angled targets or HE, and both of those far less damage. Why are we rushing Grover, by the way? Well, we're down big. We only got 2 ships. They got 4. Looks like the Colbert just killed our carrier back there, so we got to try and torp this guy, okay? Normally, we definitely would not be rushing into a Grover. Again, that thing will kill us, and we will definitely be killed by him. We'll see what battleship shooting at this thing looks like here in a moment. But anyway, once we open up on this Iowa, we got the torps off. Kind of a Hail Mary play. As soon as that sonar goes off, we're seeing we're detected. Well, that's the end of that. He's going to dodge the torps, and he's definitely going to kill us. But in the meantime, we're going to try and pepper the Iowa with some damage. Broadside mostly. He's sailing just a smidge away, but he's certainly penetratable with that angle, and we're just going to go ahead and fire those AP shots downrange and getting pretty juicy damage. This isn't max range shots, but these are relatively long range shots, and the APs have no performance drop off there. So AP is not like Baltimore scary or Alaska. My God, have you seen the Alaska? That thing's ripping these days after the buff. It's not terrifying like that, but it's pretty decent AP. Overall, I think you're going to like it. Oh, God, look out. Perfectly angled there, and there goes half the health. You cannot protect yourself. Legendary battleships, forget about it. Most Tier 7 battleships, forget about it. Probably about 2/3 of the Tier 6 battleships, forget about it. So you cannot get close to battleships. You cannot get shot by battleships. Lights out. But we're going to get a few more AP shots in here before we go down with the ship. So what do I think about the Peter? Okay, the Tier 7 Peter, the Bagration. Overall, I'd say it's not super powered. It's no Jean Bart. It's no Ochakov or, Wichita, ships of those natures. More of a balanced Tier 7 cruiser. It's the Soviet cruiser playstyle, again, long range, kind of backline cannon, which I know that's most of the players you see out there, they play every single ship like that, but there's actually distinctions on how ships are supposed to be played. This is one of them that's actually supposed to be deployed in the back of your squad, though, so if you see this guy in the back, don't get in a pissing match with him trying to say, okay, well, I'm going further back than you are. I'm always in the back. No. Let your Russian cruisers play behind you. Let your Champagne play behind them. Move on up. Let's try and be relevant. But this one, you see if you get close to those battleships, you're not going to last very long. So, hard ship in terms of protecting yourself. Damage potential, pretty good. I think the guns are overall pretty solid. HE, I would say, below average. AP, above average, but not extreme on the shellometer, I guess. Neither of them are, it's not that below average or it's not that above average, I guess is my point there. Guns overall, though, I haven't had any huge rippers, but just I've had a fair amount of solid games with it, good support type of ship. So look for opportunities to get on flanks, but you got to be careful. You don't have great concealment, and you don't have the ability to, okay, well, this battleship over there shot, I'm going to go ahead and dodge. If you don't dodge properly, and it's tough to dodge when you got an 890 turn circle, you get whacked by those shells, then your health is evaporating. Your options are limited at that point in time. So difficult from that perspective, but I think you guys are actually probably going to like it. I don't know. It sounds like some of the guys are kind of down on the ship that are testing it out earlier. I'd say it's a decent ship. It's not going to change your life, but it's not going to wreck it either. So that's a look at the new Pyotr Bagration for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. And like I said, please subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to get the 20K. Questions, comments, leave them below. I do love to hear from you guys, and see y'all later. Peace.